Welcome back to the Vintage Vixen. My name is Sam. I know it has been a really long time since I uploaded a video. My last video was the vlog to Long Island from Memorial Day weekend, and I do have a whole list of things that I want to make for you guys, so I thought to kind of get back in the swing of things, I posted a poll over on my Instagram stories. If you're not following me on Instagram, please come let's be friends. My username will be down in the description box below. So I posted a poll asking which video you guys wanted to see first, and the Long Island haul won out with just over 60% of the votes. So that is what I am doing. A couple of other new changes going on around here. You can see we have moved locations. I had been filming in my dining room, but I recently rearranged my little makeup slash getting ready area. We do have 2 spare bedrooms in our apartment, so I had kind of hijacked half of one and had been using it as my personal little dressing room. So when I rearranged everything and cleaned everything up, I thought it would be a pretty neat setup for filming. So I have some things that I'm still working on in here, like this backdrop. This is an old shower curtain. I am going to make my own backdrop when I have some time, so that'll be getting updated at some point, but overall I'm pretty happy with how things are in here, and maybe I will do a little tour video at some point, who knows. But that is not the point of today's video. So while we were down on Long Island, Joe and his dad went fishing on the Saturday, and I decided to do a little exploring and a little shopping. I like fishing, but I get motion sick really easily, and they were out on the ocean, so I just did not want to deal with the potential of me being miserable and then making them miserable. So I let them go do their thing and I did my thing. So the first stop I made was at Ulta. I had a couple of things that I needed to get. I needed a new red lip liner because mine had been worn down basically to a nub and was really difficult to use at that size. And I also needed some new mascara. I'm not particularly devoted to any specific brand or type of mascara, so usually when it's time to get a new one, I will try something different. If I do ever find something that I super love and will be dedicated to solely, then I will use that, but until then I'm okay with experimenting and shopping around and trying different mascaras. So as I said, I went in with 2 things on my list and came out with much more than 2 things. All of the things that I picked up at Ulta are NYX brand, except for one item. I've really been into NYX lately. I originally started by buying one of their jumbo pencils in milk, which it seems like every YouTube makeup guru has, and I really liked it. I also have one of their eyeshadow bases, and I have been using their matte liquid liner for a few months now, and I'm totally obsessed. I have repurchased this multiple times, and I love it. I go through eyeliner pretty quickly, as you can imagine, with the thickness I do my wings. Back to the haul. I got the NYX Worth the Hype mascara. I really like it. Like I said, I'm not particularly devoted to any specific mascara brand or type, so I like it. I may buy it again, I may not, we'll see, but as for now, I am really enjoying this mascara and it makes my eyelashes look really nice. As for the lip liner, I ended up getting 2 red lip liners. The first one is just their regular pencil liner in hot red. I'm wearing it now. It goes really well with my Victory Red and Red Hot Red from Besame. I tend to use the same kind of shade for multiple red lipsticks when I can. That being said, I've also been really digging the Besame Blood Red and the Red Velvet, so I needed something a little bit darker. I found the NYX Slide On, Glide On, Stay On, and definitely a turn on waterproof extreme color lip liner, and it is the color Brick House. I really like this. It's a really nice shade of red that really goes with the blood red and the Red Velvet from Besame. So I'm really enjoying these two lip liners. I've been using them kind of going back and forth whenever I, you know, whatever mood strikes me, whatever red I feel like wearing that day. So these are both really nice. Then I thought I would get a concealer. I do have under eye circles, as you can see. As you know, though, I don't wear a lot of foundation, but I wanted to try an under eye concealer and see if it helps at all. It has been so unbelievably hot here over the past week and a half that I really haven't worn a lot of makeup just because I haven't felt like making the effort. And the fact that this room is really hot because we don't have central air and I don't have an air conditioning in this room. But I did get the NYX HD Studio Photogenic Concealer in CW04. The one thing I didn't like about Ulta is that I couldn't sample the colors of the concealer, so I had to kind of guess what would look good on me, and it actually ended up working out. So I have worn this a couple of times. I like it. It's light, it's easily blendable, and it does the job that I need it to do. So that's really all I ask for when it comes to cosmetics. It was buy one get one free on their face, I guess, for that day. So I also got the NYX HD Studio Photogenic concealer in the green, or CW12 officially. Green is supposed to combat redness. I don't get a lot of breakouts, but when I do get pimples, they are always those like really nasty red angry looking things. So I thought I would get this to help it out when I needed to. I haven't had to use it yet, so I can't really give a review on it, but it is basically the same formula as the other concealer that I got, so I have high hopes that this will be pretty good. I also have been on the hunt, as you know, for the perfect light blue / turquoise 1950s eyeshadow. It's the reason I bought the BH Cosmetics 88 matte palette, which actually didn't have the color that I was looking for, but I love the palette anyway, so I'm okay with the fact that I bought it. And I've just kind of been on the hunt for something. I think I'm going to go to Sugar Pill Cosmetics next and see what I can find there. But since I was in Ulta, I did a little looking around, and NYX had these Vivid Brights cream colors, and it looked pretty promising from the packaging. It is a cream color. You can see inside. It's, you know, I've dug my little finger in there and used it. The color is nice. I do have a little trouble with application. It's taking me some practice. I'm not used to working with cream eyeshadows. And I also will say that I have issues with it creasing and rubbing off on my eyelid throughout the day. Now, full disclosure, I do not wear an eyeshadow primer. I have previously worn eyeshadow primers. I was really devoted to Too Faced Shadow Insurance for quite a while, but I found that they're kind of, for me, in my personal opinion, a waste of my money. I know some people swear by them. I know some people don't even bother. Like anything with cosmetics, it all comes down to your personal preference and your personal chemical makeup, really. Some things that work for me might not work for other people, and vice versa. So I personally have not used an eyeshadow primer in years. Now, that could be one of the reasons why this is having trouble staying on my eyes. I have used this as an eyeshadow primer to see if that would help. It didn't. So I'm still experimenting with this a little bit. I also do have hooded eyes, so a lot of times my eyelids are kind of scrunched up together and folded over on one another, so that could also be another reason why I'm having some trouble with this. But I do love the color, and I'm going to keep playing with it until I find the way that works perfectly for me for what I want. The last thing I picked up from Ulta is this Soap & Glory Smoothie Star Lightly Whipped Body Buttercream. This is so good, guys. It is the pistachio, almond, and sweet vanilla fragrance. It smells so good. It's not too powerful, but it's got kind of a really nice, sweet, almondy smell. I don't generally like food fragrances when it comes to my lotions or perfumes or body sprays, but I really like this one. I love the smell of almonds. I don't know why. I just really, really like it. And as you can see, I have really dug into this thing. It's about half gone. I slather this on when I get out of the shower. If my skin is feeling a little bit dry, I put it on my elbows, my legs, whatever. It is so nice. It smells so good. And since it's been so hot here last week, I actually put this in the fridge for a little while before I applied it, and it made it nice and cool, and it felt so good to just put on after being out in the sun and enjoying the water and things like that. So I really, really like this Soap and Glory Smoothie Star Lightly Whipped Body Buttercream. So that's it for cosmetics and beauty. I also hit up Barnes & Noble while I was down on Long Island. We do have those around here, but I was on vacation, so I wanted to go shopping and spend some money. I'm not the only one who does that, right? Like when you go on vacation, it just feels like, oh, I'm on vacation. I'm supposed to be spending money and buying things that I could buy at home, but that I probably wouldn't because I'd be like, oh, I'm trying to save money or whatever. Just me? Okay. So I did go to Barnes & Noble and I picked up 2 books. So the first thing I picked up is I'll Take You There by Wally Lamb. I love Wally Lamb. He's one of my favorite authors. Probably his most well-known book is She's Come Undone, which is the first Wally Lamb book that I ever read. It's phenomenal. One of the things I really enjoy about his books is that they all kind of have this little bit of an interconnectedness to them. One of his common settings is a fictional town called Three Rivers in Connecticut, and it appears in a lot of his works, including this one. A few years ago, he wrote a little Christmas novella called Wishin' and Hopin', and the main character was a young boy named Felix Funicello. His claim to fame was that his cousin was the Mouseketeer Annette Funicello, and in that book he was a young boy, and it's a Christmas story. It's really cute. This book, however, features Felix as a grown man, and it's really cool. It kind of combines silent film and classic movies, 1950s and 60s nostalgia and childhood, and looking back on those things, and growing up and facing, you know, your past and things like that. It's really, really good. It's not a long read. It's one of his shortest, and you won't be able to put it down. I enjoyed it. Just like all of his books, I cried. There's a lot of emotion in his writing, and it was just a beautiful, beautiful book. So if you're looking for something to read this summer that, you know, is a nice quick read and really good and kind of has that little bit of a vintage feel to it, I would suggest I'll Take You There by Wally Lamb. The next thing I picked up is a giant work of nonfiction, 5 Families by Selwyn Raab. This book has been on my to-read list forever. I am fascinated by the history of the mafia and organized crime, and so I will devour practically any sort of media related to that, be it book, TV show, film, whatever. This book is by Selwyn Raab. If you watch TV shows about the mafia or the mob, you've probably seen him. He's generally interviewed as one of the experts on the subject, so I've seen him on a number of shows like that, and so I definitely wanted to pick up this book. It is huge, but it's got 3 different sections of pictures, which is great. I love history books that include images in them. I tried listening to this on Audible, and I could not stand the narrator's voice. It drove me nuts, and I also absorb things a lot better when I actually read them. So I picked up a copy of this. The next things that I'm going to show you are all from thrift or antique shops down on Long Island. So sticking with the book theme, I picked up a copy of The Great Gatsby. This was in a store called Island Thrift. It was huge. It was filled with stuff. You can see a clip of it in my last video. I really didn't have the time or energy to go through every single nook and cranny of the store, but I did spend some time in the book section, and I picked up this copy of The Great Gatsby. Little secret, I've never read The Great Gatsby. I know. I didn't have to read it in high school. Our English teachers seemed to have a little bit of leeway with things that they chose for their students. So there were some books that we all read, but there were other books that some classes read and other classes didn't, or read something else instead. And my teacher never chose The Great Gatsby. So this is definitely on my list to read. Don't tell anyone, okay? You'll lose some street cred. Next, I was over in the record section in the same store, and I picked up a couple of albums. They had a ton of stuff, so I kind of looked through what I could, and I ended up walking away with Billie Holiday. I love Billie Holiday. I already have some of her stuff on vinyl. I just love how it sounds on a record. It's just so much better to me, so I'm going to really enjoy this one. I also grabbed a copy of Doris Day's Greatest Hits. I've loved Doris Day always. I grew up watching a lot of the old movie musicals from the 50s and 60s, and one of my favorites as a kid was Calamity Jane, starring Doris Day. So I always kind of loved her because of that. She played a tomboy, which I was growing up, and also I really enjoyed the fashion of the 1950s version of the Old West. I still to this day love that fashion and that style. The songs were really great, and it was just a really fun movie. So I've always had a bit of a soft spot for Doris Day, and of course this being her greatest hits, you can see all of the well-known songs that pretty much everybody knows are on this album. Finally, the last thing I got, I went to an antique store called Attic Treasures or something like that. I'd been there previously. I actually found some of my Christmas ornaments there a couple years back, and I was a little bit disappointed when I went this time because there really wasn't anything that was jumping out at me. It's a nice store. I enjoyed, looking around, but there really wasn't anything that I was like, I need to have that. But as I was leaving, there is a middle section in the store with some records, so I decided to just do a little walkthrough, and it was meant to be because as I walked through, this was at the front of the section and popped right out at me, and it is Johnny Cash at San Quentin. I actually don't own this album, or didn't own this album until now, so I'm really excited about that. It was, like I said, it was kind of meant to be. I was just getting ready to leave, and there it was, right as I was on my way out the door. So I'm really excited with this find. Johnny Cash, as you know, is one of my all-time favorites. I already have quite an extensive Johnny Cash record collection, but I'm always willing to add to it. So that is it. That is my Long Island haul. I hope you all enjoyed this little video. I promise I'm trying to get back into a regular schedule of filming and uploading. Spring and summer is really my busy season at work, and it's just been so hard. It means that I end up working a lot of evenings or weekends, and of course for the past few weeks I haven't had to work on weekends, but it's just been so busy with personal obligations, and then it was so hot that I just did not feel like doing anything except laying in front of the air conditioning in the living room, or being out in the water. So I'm hoping to get back to regularly you know, regular schedule of filming. As I said, I do have a list of ideas of things that I want to film for you guys, so I'm going to keep plugging away on that. As I said at the beginning of the video, please come follow me on Instagram. It's pretty much the only social media I use. I do have a personal Facebook, but I don't have one for my channel. So come find me over on Instagram. It is The Vintage Vixen. Vixen is spelled V-X-N. I will, of course, put that down below, and it's also at the end of the video if you pay attention to the very last few seconds. So come find me over on Instagram. I always love having new friends. I hope you're all doing well. Thanks again for coming and spending some time with me. I love and appreciate every single one of you. I hope you're all doing well. Until next time, bye. Did I dream?